Today I'm going to say something that may upset some modern influencers, coaches, and also scientists. The golden era bodybuilders were right, and the most modern bodybuilding advice is wrong. And I want you to understand why, because if you want to really build muscle, train without injuries, and look like legendary bodybuilders, not like some YouTube influencers, then you have to learn from people who actually did it, from legendary physiques like Arnold, Oliva, Nubret, Zane, and Haney. These men build bodies that inspire even today. No algorithms, no TikTok theories, no optimal spreadsheets, just real training, real intensity, and real results. I'm Dr. Nash Jocic, former bodybuilding champion. I've been in bodybuilding for over 40 years. During that time, I competed 46 times and won 17 titles. And I also trained over 3,500 clients and helped them to get in the best shape of their lives. I also published 11 ebooks, which are fully loaded with detailed explanation about everything you always wanted to know in bodybuilding. And if you want to expand your knowledge and widen your horizons, simply click on the link in the comments and you can access my ebooks. So let us dive now into the topic. Let us start with the problem with modern advice. So modern bodybuilding advice is basically obsessed with numbers. First of all, there's some volume spreadsheets, then the frequency charts, then you have a lot of junk science, over-analysis, and basically debate for the sake of debate. People want to explain everything, always be right, scientifically right. Oh, this research has proven this meta-analysis has shown us this. And then everything together they put into something which is supposed to be bodybuilding workout, but is far away from that. And obviously results are absolutely zero. So everybody's trying to get the program which is the smartest, not the program that actually works. So golden era was the opposite. They focus on what matters. So first of all, intensity, consistency, commitment, mechanical tension, recovery, longevity, discipline, no needless explanations, no scientific jargon. People just used to train hard, they train with purpose, and they build physiques that nobody today can match. You all know very well that when we talk about bodybuilding, we are all dreaming about bodies like Arnold's or Nubret or Sergio Oliva or Frank Zane or Haney. I don't think anybody of you wants to look like modern bodybuilders. Oversized, bloated, belly sticking out, water retention. This is not a bodybuilding. It's going to turn into something completely different and is actually very sad. So let me tell you what actually golden era got right. So there are basically 5 things that golden era masters understood better than today's experts. So number 1 is mechanical tension. Basically, mechanical tension was the king. Back then, nobody even talked about mechanical tension, but they trained with full range of motion, perfect execution, and high volume. So this basically the exact ingredients that modern science now can confirm as the biggest drivers of hypertrophy. People didn't know what mechanical tension is, but they did everything right actually to actually use and exploit that most important factor for muscle hypertrophy. So mechanical tension was real. It wasn't debated about how can you do that, which movements to do, what biomechanical points are the most important. They just didn't do that. But what they've done actually was exactly what we are now confirming today. This is mechanical tension, and they did it 100%. Number 2 is they trained to feel. Everything was done by feeling. As we know, science wasn't very much involved in those days, in 70s and 80s. So bodybuilders simply relied on their instincts and feelings. So if some exercise didn't feel right, they wouldn't do it. If certain number of reps wasn't enough, they didn't feel it was enough, they wouldn't do it. They would do higher number of reps. If certain number of sets was not enough, they would do more sets because they felt it. They literally were in touch with their own bodies, with their own minds and instincts. So they could have decided themselves how much they should do. Today, everything is done by spreadsheets, rules, rest time between the sets. I see people in the gym every day. I come and say, can I join in doing, for example, pull downs? And he says, yes, you can do it. I'm resting. Now I do 3 sets and the guy is still resting because I don't know who and why and when and, said that you should be resting 4 minutes or 5 minutes between the sets. So they are resting. So they're completely detached from that feeling. And this is actually what is this second thing that mattered in golden era. Now, number 3, very important fact that was absolutely exploited and used 100% with 100% results, almost by everyone, was high volume. So most modern advice says you need a low volume, but then you train the muscle twice per week. In the golden era time, high volume, high precision, and gradual progressions, that was everything. They just train with much higher volume. They would do anywhere from 16 to 30. Some people Nubret even to 40 sets, depending which muscle group you're doing. And that high volume is actually the key for everything that we now understand scientifically has to happen in order to stimulate myofibrillar and also sarcoplasmic growth. So this is very difficult to achieve with 6 to 10 sets per muscle group, and then you train them again in 3 or 4 days. Again, it's just completely detached from the feeling. I spoke about it in my previous video when people complain all the time and they say, oh, I've done that because, they those famous they said you need to train not more than 10 sets per muscle group and then you train twice. But I always felt like I can do more than 10 sets. I just felt I want to do another 5 or maybe 10 sets because this is how I felt, but I didn't do it because they, 6 wise men said, 10 sets and that's it. If you do 11, it's going to be disaster. And then you repeat it again. I mean, absolute nonsense. Number 4, they didn't chase failure. They chased mastery. So today there is some dogma about training to failure. So if you don't train to failure, basically you're not training, right? You're some second-class bodybuilder because only the real boys, the real men, they train to failure, right? And then when they finish their set, they collapse. They create theatrical, expressions on the floor or, walking around. Oh, that was so hard, I'm so tired. And all this mockery of bodybuilding actually never existed. I never, even in 90s, I don't remember that. We were training hard. Nobody was training until collapsing. We had fantastic results, not just us in 90s, but also in 80s, not to mention 70s. People didn't go to failure. This is why they could have done more sets, more volume, more reps. They were stimulating muscle growth without killing central nervous system. So it was so productive for muscle hypertrophy and so protective for central nervous system that they could have trained almost every day with a high volume because CNS was all right. It wasn't overtaxed. But now with these new almost powerlifting methods with training to failure, because you're the hero if you did 7, 8 reps and then the 9th you were fighting for your life to really complete that rep, and then people came around and they said, tap you on the shoulder, wow, that was amazing, you really did it all. I mean, for what? You're not doing anything. This is not going to happen that way. Another thing that was very prominent in golden era is obviously they respected recovery. So people slept 8-9 hours a day. They ate clean. They also lived like athletes, and they rested when their bodies told them to do that. Nowadays, we live in a different world, and people are hardly committed as people were in golden era, because they lived and bred bodybuilding. So nowadays things are very different. So people today have to be even more careful about recovery, not reckless as they are with this training muscle twice per week and going all out every set to failure. So I know that some of you may say, oh, but the guys in golden era train twice per day, muscle twice per week, and you're training that this is not good because this is modern advice. Well, let me clarify this once for good. The greatest athletes from golden era, like Arnold, Oliva, Nubret, they trained every muscle twice per week. But there is a reason for that. First of all, these people are absolute exception. They were not a rule. Their genetics were simply exceptional, unrepeatable. Nobody ever had genetics of Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sergio Oliva or Serge Nubret. So remember that. Their genetics allow them to do basically whatever they want. Also, their lifestyles, they allow them to train twice per day because they just did bodybuilding. So they would do training in the morning, then they would go back home, they would sleep, they would have a long nap, and then they would come in the evening and do another session. How many people can do that today? Just remember this one. So lifestyle that they lived allowed them to train twice every muscle twice per week. Also, as I mentioned, unprecedented genetics, right? Also, that these guys were heavily enhanced as well. You need to understand that. There is no secret. They all took steroids. So they also contributed to that ability to recover faster, to recover muscle faster. I will explain to you a little bit more in a moment. But again, they just lived and bred the bodybuilding full time. So I don't agree with this, especially for modern bodybuilders. I mean, some people, if they really have genetics like Arnold, Oliva, Serge Nubret, they can do that. But the percentage of these people will be 0.01 or something. Very, very few people can afford to do that. And also the lifestyle. I mean, in modern world, there is very few people who can just completely dedicate their lives to bodybuilding and have that time to rest and train and commit 100%. So if you had those genetics which are expected for training every muscle twice per week, as Golden Era legends did, then maybe you can benefit from it. But for the rest of us, 99%, 0.90, as many nines as you want, won't be able to do that. I think that the biggest improvement that has happened in the 90s was introduction of training every muscle once per week. So Haney was the first to start training every muscle every 4 to 5 days. But then after Dorian Yates, who trained every muscle once a week, everybody else did muscle once a week. All these other legends, modern bodybuilders like Jay Cutler, Phil Heath, everybody today trains every muscle once per week, although they are all enhanced, heavily enhanced. But the fact is that I have explained in few videos in the past, yes, you can recover muscle within 3 days, but your connective tissues won't recover. They need up to 5 days to recover, and you need another extra 2 days to recover your CNS, central nervous system. So unless everything is fully recovered, you won't be able to hit the gym again and train 100%. High volume basically destroys frequency. If you train hard, every muscle, let's say from 16 to 30 sets, depending on which muscle group you're training, you simply cannot recover in 2-3 days. There's no way you can recover. You will not grow, and you will accumulate fatigue. You will be hammering your central nervous system. So it's simply impossible. Also, central nervous system recovery is much slower today because people sleep less in general. They are stressed more, and also they work more. So when you add everything into the basket, there is absolutely no way that you can progress by training every muscle twice per week. So also twice per week muscle group, training twice per week every muscle group will lead to chronic tightness and also injury. You never fully recover. Tendons become inflamed, joints get irritated. I have people coming literally every day and asking me, "Oh, Nash, what do you think? I've got some tendonitis in my left elbow. I don't know where they come from. My right shoulder is hurting. Every time I move, I can't do any press anymore." Exactly. You can't do that because if you train muscle twice per week, if you are training to failure almost every set, you will not be able to recover, not just the muscles, but connective tissues. Connective tissues are the problem as well. So training once per week allows, first of all, deep recovery, higher intensity, because every next workout that you approach, you're going to be more capable to train intensely. Obviously, better performance, sustainable progression, fewer injuries, and which is very, very important, simply training every muscle once per week will help you create great motivation for every workout. I mean, I'll take it from me. I do, let's say, chest on Monday, and I just can't wait for the next Monday to come. I'm so excited. I'm motivated. I'm driving my car towards the gym, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to do, which exercises. I almost get pumped before I get into the gym. But also I remember days when I trained muscle twice per week, as many did, my days when I made that mistake. When I go to do, let's say, back on Friday, after I've done it on Tuesday, for example, oh, my back is still hurting, but I have to do back because this is the system that was wrong, and I felt terrible. Now I can't wait to go to the gym. So this is very, very important to understand this last benefit of training muscle once per week. So let me tell you now why modern optimal advice fails. You always hear these things that, you have to train every muscle twice per week. In order to do that, then volume has to be low. And also you must train to failure. So recovery doesn't matter as long as you hit frequency. So frequency, apparently, for whatever reason, which are all, it's absolute junk science, as I said it many times, that you are fully ready to train another session, the same muscle group, within 3 or 4 days. Impossible. Physiologically impossible. I don't know where they picked up this scientific data, because is in a real world, which science obviously ignores quite often, this is not possible. This is absolute nonsense. And so why is that a nonsense? Because modern advice is mainly based on studies on untrained beginners. This is most of the studies done on that. Also, the studies have done no longer than 12 weeks, usually 6 to 12 weeks. So this is not enough to prove anything. It is also lab data, not real-world results. So what I achieve in the lab may be true, may be right on the paper, but in reality, everything is completely opposite. They are wrong because they're based on low-volume designs. Everything tends to be created to be easier, to be more palatable. So if you promote something that is easy, that you can finish workout in 20 minutes and you only need to do 3 of them per week, and the whole body will be happy, people are more geared up to buy your advice, to buy your book. This is how heavy duty sold. Mike Mentzer was a brilliant businessman, although he never did his own heavy duty theory. In reality, he was training like everybody else, 20, 30 sets for major muscle groups. Most of you probably don't know that, but this is true. And but he created a product which was very attractive and palatable for masses. Oh, you just do every muscle once in maybe 10 days, and all that you need to do in 10 days is 3 or 4 workouts, and that's it. And every workout is going to be like 15, 20 minutes. Wow, how good is that? Now I can do it because I don't have time. I can go my lunch break. And this is another reason that that low volume design is so popular. But real bodybuilding is built on intensity, progressive overload, recovery, not just on frequency alone. These things are simply unacceptable, and if you are training like a real bodybuilder, there is no way that you can train every muscle twice per week, again, unless you are Arnold, Nubret, or Sergio Oliva. So there are 3 specimens who've done that with extreme success. 3, and is about 8 billion of us now. So if you think you're one of those 3, maybe you should copy their workouts and train every muscle twice per week. But I don't think so. Also, if you're going every set all out to failure, you will simply overtrain. One of the major reasons for that is that you're going to be in a constant production of cortisol. So you're going to have a high level of cortisol chronically elevated all the time. And that is not just going to kill your testosterone if you're natural, but also is going to start breaking your fast twitch muscle fibers, especially in the legs, in the quads, and it will make you fat around the waist. So just remember this training to failure every single time, every set. And then you're going to become the big pool of cortisol, chronically elevated 24/7. What the golden era knew, and we have forgotten. So they knew that the bodybuilding is absolutely not a scientific experiment. For them, it was art, it was a lifestyle, it was craft. They trusted their instincts, experience. They went for feeling, for pump, for intuition. They were disciplined. And these things mattered most to them. Because if you look at their workouts, they were all different. Arnold didn't train like Serge Nubret. Serge Nubret didn't train like Sergio Oliva. They were all finding the way to training intensity, training level, volume, even diets that will work for them. So they didn't follow any holy grail of perfect workouts and perfect training systems or diets. They simply tried, they relied on their instincts, their feelings, because we are all different. And people nowadays, they don't do that. Nobody relies on their instincts, on their feelings. I had clients that I asked so many times, "Oh, do you feel your back doing this?" And they would look at me and says, "Let me think." So I said, "You can't think about feeling. You either felt it or you didn't feel. When you burn yourself, you don't ask yourself, 'Oh, did I burn myself? Let me think.' No, you don't do that. You just feel that you have burned yourself. So when you do properly your pull down, for example, you should feel your back throughout." They don't, because people today, they're not connected. I also have clients who are religiously on their mobile phones before the workouts. They are not connected. Mind-muscle connection should start before your workout. You should imagine yourself. You should see yourself doing bench press or squats or bent over rowings or pull-ups. You should start feeling the session before you even enter the gym. So good 15, 20, half an hour. You should psych yourself up into the training session. So when you start training, you are already there. No, they are on Instagram, they are on TikTok, and then I come and they say, "Oh, hello." And then we start training. And I say that all the time. Stop doing it, start. But it's not working. I mean, it's difficult. Nowadays, life is very difficult and distraction is absolutely everywhere. So while golden era legends trusted their instincts, their feelings, the pump, intuition, the modern lifters, they trust charts, influencers, lab studies, also what sounds smart instead of what works. They will believe more some spreadsheet that some online coach has sent them, but their own feelings. So it's all turned into from the feeling, from your central nervous system connected to your muscles, everything went into some numbers, digits. And this is the problem. And simply golden era physiques dominate modern time because they train in a way that builds muscles, not in a way that sounds clever on YouTube. Remember that. That's very important. So even when I do programs for my clients, nutritional training programs, I always say, take it as a guidance. That means that this is the guide, but you, because you are in the driving seat, you are the owner of your life, you are the one who is driving the car, you have to adapt this guidance into what you feel, what works for you. And if you think there are changes there, that there should be, then we will talk again and adjust it. But take it as a guidance, not as a holy grail. So this is what I would advise to you to do in order to get bigger muscles and burn body fat, because this is all I'm talking about. And I'm interested on my channel only about optimal muscle growth and fat loss. First of all, I would like you to train every muscle once a week. So just once a week. But you have to train hard. You train with intention. You need to do high volume. You need to do perfect form. You need to control every part of every rep. And you need to turn these habits into a mastery. So when you go to the gym one day, without even thinking of anything, as an autopilot, everything you do has to be perfect. Mind-muscle connection, mechanical tension, time under tension, perfect form, that has to be all in you already. So you aim for that. Also, I would like you to prioritize recovery. That means that you have to sleep 8 to 9 hours per night. Sometimes if you have time, even the nap would be very good. It's like injection of growth hormone in your body, extra. Also, pay attention to your nutrition. There are so many videos I've done on that subject in which I emphasize the importance of protein. 99% of people who come to me for nutritional programs, they undereat protein, and they wonder why they are not building muscle. Especially if you are on a low-carb diet, your protein has to be really high. Never underestimate electrolytes, because if you drink water without electrolytes, that will simply go through your body. But what is even worse, going through your body, just plain water will leach the minerals from your body and basically wash them out. And minerals are so important, electrolytes especially. So always have electrolytes in your water, and especially during your workout. Stop chasing frequency and start chasing quality, because one great workout is better than 10 average ones. So it's much better to do one proper training session for chest or legs than to do some average half sessions like that twice per week. Let me try to wrap it up for you. The golden era wasn't perfect, as I mentioned, especially because some of them train every muscle twice per week. But you have to understand something fundamental. You cannot cheat the truth of training. Simply, you must work hard. You need to recover properly, and you need to be consistent. And I explain in this video what it means. That means training once per week, high volume, which is 16 to 30 sets per muscle group, depending on which muscle group you're training, and also rest. So modern advice simply overcomplicates everything. Golden era wisdom simply simplified it. And after 40 years in bodybuilding, I can tell you that the golden era was right. And if you want to grow faster, you should learn from them. Once again, let me remind you that for your great benefit, I have published 11 ebooks, which are fully loaded about everything you always wanted to know in bodybuilding. Muscle growth, fat loss, training frequency, intensity, nutrition, lifestyle change, and many, many other subjects. So if you really want to develop that knowledge and widen your horizons, simply click on the link in the comments and you can access my ebooks. Also, watch this video in which I introduce my other services and the way that we can work together one-to-one. Actually, the way that I can personally help you to get in the best shape of your life. My services include personalized training programs, personalized nutritional programs, telephone consultations, online coaching, and also for people who live in London, personal training one-to-one. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and also send me your comments. And until the next video, I wish you all the best.